Hello everyone, welcome to your favorite videos here. My name is Yasmine Yaiche and I am a psychic medium and channeler here to share knowledge, wisdom, things I've learned, things that I'm receiving in terms of channeled messages. And this video is actually going to be about the personal understanding or your understanding of an expiration of an experience on earth. When the door closes and a new one opens, how do you cope with that? How do you deal with that? So we are continuing the conversation around the earth element, both literally, practically, as well as metaphorically through energy in our everyday lives as lessons as we're living on this earth plane. And of course, continuing that conversation for Q2. Q1 was about fire, Q2 about earth. I'm not sure which element I have planned for Q3 and 4 yet. I know I have the order already prepped, but I haven't checked. So we're going to be spontaneous when we get there. But right now, let's be present and talk about this because I actually think that a lot of people are going to be having more doors closed for them in 2025. An expiration of an experience. And that was channeled to me by my guides. What does that particularly mean? So an expiration of an experience is really the connection that we have with when a door is closing in our life, when something is leaving. You can consider it as a physical loss or a metaphorical loss, someone leaving the earth plane, or a loss of something that maybe a personality or a habit or even a friend, someone leaving your life. And so how do we cope with that? How do we deal with that? Well, when it comes to dealing with loss, we need to realize that losses are just lessons. They're sort of plans and blueprints for us to be able to receive some type of value about our experience and our journey on the earth. So when it comes to understanding or understanding, right? Going within and having that inner sense of awareness, that inner sense of understanding of an expiration of an experience when something is meant to leave your life and the door is meant to close. It's hard to close that door if you're not ready to do that, which is why a lot of people experience abrupt losses, because a lot of our souls are not able to handle something that you see coming. So sometimes a lot of things in our lives, those losses are sort of unexpected experiences, and sometimes it feels unfortunate. But just remember who you are and what journey you're on, and feel all the feels. One of the things that my guys are saying is you need to feel every single emotion that is coming through. And some people are, I guess, conditioned or programmed to subside those emotions and put it on the back burner, while other people are sort of guided to feel into that, to step into that. And every single day is going to be a new day of feeling. So recognizing your own self, like recognizing and giving yourself grace that every single day is going to be a different energy, a different emotion, and a different feeling, right? But what can we do to sort of override that? It's not gaslighting ourselves, not allowing ourselves to feel like for too long. It's okay if we feel like crap, but don't allow yourself to stay in that mindset. Feel those feels, but then allow yourself to bounce back. And remember that when something is ending in your life, an expiration, an experience is expiring for you, whether you expect it to or not, a journey, a lesson, a friendship, a chapter, a person actually leaving, a pet, etc. Insert whatever sort of expiring or loss you have or will go through in the near future, it's part of life. I'm hearing it's part of life. And so we have to feel the ebb and flow of the emotion, because that's all we can do to help us move through the grief of things that are expiring in our life that maybe we've had an attachment, memories, or an emotional connection with. More easily I can say in related to the relationship department, I feel like there might be some people that are having relationships expire in their lives, people leaving their lives, and recognizing, where you once were when you first met that person to who you are now. I guarantee you've changed. You're a different person now. And so embrace the change, embrace the shift, embrace the fact that you are so much more evolved now than you once were when you met that person, or when you started that job, or when you were in that sort of state, country, chapter, place in this world. And so what can you do about the loss is recognize that there is going to inevitably be emotions around it. And grief is not a one and done feeling. Grief is about recognizing the ebbs and flows of the natural state of our of our life and our memories and our brains and our feelings and our emotions, and feeling and leaning into that, but not allowing it to stop us from living our life. All too much I've seen many people dive too deeply into the expiration of their experience. They're not able to understand. They understand that something ended in their life, but they're not able to go within and understand that it's time for them to now move on. And so what happens is that they stay in this cyclical energy of grief, where they don't allow themselves to leave that sense of emotional sort of instability, and they basically stop themselves from experiencing things, from going out, from getting fresh air, from getting tasks done, from living your life. And that is when we need to kind of take a step back and say, okay, if something like this, leaving my life, is truly stopping me from living my life, then was it really to my benefit? And everyone's experiences are going to be different. When it comes to losing a person, a lot of people have a hard time with that, understandably. What can you do about that? Like, how can you move past that? You have to go through the ebbs and flows of what the grief brings upon you in your journey and feel all the feels, but don't allow it to stop you from living your life. The person that left your life, the person that you lost in the physical world, they've transitioned, they've passed, they want you to live your life, okay? They want you to keep living your life, because you already saw that this person left life too early or too soon or too unexpectedly. So now you know that time and life is so precious. Use it to your benefit and go live your life. You're going to be sad some days, and that's how it has to be. And you have to just feel into it, lean into the sadness, eat your snacks and just binge whatever shows you need to. Whatever you need to do for you, you got to do for you, and honor that. And I think that's the highest form of self-love, is honoring the ebbs and flows of your emotional energetics, of the different feelings you're going to get on a day-to-day basis, because this is what life on earth does. And the souls that are on earth right now are quite evolved. I would say not all of us are awakened or ascended, obviously, ascending beings, but I would say that a lot of us are evolved souls who have gone through many, many lifetimes. There's not a huge population of new souls, if you will. A lot of us are souls that have continued to come back over many lifetimes. And because of that, we are still going to be challenged, because Earth is a school with different triggers that match that level of strength that we have, even if we don't feel we're strong within ourselves in general. But ultimately, the point is that you got to feel the ebbs and flows of your journey, and you have to recognize when it is important for you to not detach. But my guides are saying to detach, but that's because they're coming from a higher dimensional state of energy. Really, it's a soft detachment. It's really just, okay, I got to keep living my life. I cannot let myself lose any more time by not living my life. And when an experience expires in your life, it should become a personal mission of yours to acknowledge, understand on the outside what's happening, but be more intentional and understand, what you need and how you need to experience the ebbs and flows of grief and loss, but also recognize where you once were and who you are now and how far you've come. Because that thing, relationship, journey, chapter, person, experience that is expiring now, that door that's closing or has closed, was meant to bring you here to this more evolved version that you are now, with the new knowledge that you've gained about yourself, maybe new points of views, new perceptions, etc. So this is a channeled message coming through today about, the more metaphorical sense of the earth element and the energy that the earth brings for us. It is a school for each and every one of us to tap into the ebbs and flows of our emotional and mental well-being, and to give ourselves some grace and recognize that this is not an easy place to live at all. There are so many different POVs and perspectives and experiences and mindsets and upbringings that challenge our sort of sense of normalcy. And so we are okay to be uncomfortable and go back to a sense of comfort zone and go back and forth between those states of being, and live the way we feel authentic to ourselves without shaming ourselves, because, an expiring experience on the earth plane is something that is meant to teach you. And what you go through on earth is something that will, yes, technically stay with you on the earth, but the value and the lessons of what you learned from that expiration of that experience is what will carry on with you when you transition one day. So hopefully this channel message was valuable. This is what came through from my spirit guides, primarily Archangel Sandalphon in the house, Archangel Gabriel, Michael as well. I hope that this video was helpful for you, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Love and light.